how does somebody figure out whether they should have a marketing budget, what their marketing budget should be? Is there a formula to figure out what to spend or invest on marketing for the growth of your firm based on where you're at?
Yeah, so there are a couple of places that will go with this. I'll start from the marketing framework, and then Moshe, I'm going to turn us into a revenue per employee metric, which I promise for everyone listening, you're going to want to hear this, because any law firm owner who has ever struggled with the idea of where am I in relation to my peers, which, let's be honest, that's part sometimes of being a lawyer. It's why sometimes lawyers can be high income, low wealth, because they're looking around at their peers and thinking, well, I need to be closer to where they are in lifestyle, because they don't know the back end of any of this stuff. And so I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But up front with the marketing, so first thing I'll say is, like, marketing, advertising will be where I can peg a real number on it, right? Marketing costs are always greater than your advertising costs, because marketing costs might be hiring someone to answer the phone externally who has a better customer service thing before it comes inside for the intake specialist. Marketing can be the swag giveaways that you have when someone comes in that we can't put a direct return on investment on, but we know gets our brand out deeper and deeper into the community and improves our ability to provide high-end experiences and get more referrals. Now, advertising, and this is one of the mistakes they're made, every law firm should have an advertising budget. And an advertising budget should be, that's like, here's the marketing that we're doing. If we're doing this kind of a narrow it down term, we would also call this media buying, right? I mean, these are terms that you know well, Moshe. These are terms that folks in your audience may know well, but this might help put some definition on it. So, am I buying local service ads from Google? Am I buying pay-per-click from Bing and Google, Facebook ads, direct mail, print advertising, television, radio, all of that stuff? The advertising budget, the ranges can be pretty extreme, but usually what I'm looking for when I'm working with a firm, and a lot of the firms that we work with are under $5 million a year, I'm going to look for that firm to spend in the range of 7 to 12% on advertising. And this, Moshe, is really important depending on where they are in their journey. So,
and I want to jump in real quick, and also depending on where they want to go in their journey, right? Yes. I have people who, they're like, oh, well, what should it be? I actually just want one more client a month. Well, if you want one more client a month, don't spend money on advertising. Let's find another way to bring one more client a month in.
Yep. So it's very much a matter of scale, right? If you are a firm, let's say today you're running a $1 million a year family law practice, right? And you're thinking to yourself, how do I get to $3 million? Well, you don't get fast, at the very least, to $3 million by trying to figure out how do I spend as little on marketing as humanly possible. You do have to look at spending it as a higher percentage for some amount of time. And this is really important. So let's say we're $1 million. Let's do it with $1.2 million a year. So that way we get the nice round $100,000 per month revenue mark. Okay. And we say, we've been spending like 5-6% of that every month on marketing. You might need to scale that to 12 or even 15% temporarily, until as a percentage, it starts to represent a smaller and smaller amount. And I do like to dial it into that 7 to 12%, depending on your marketplace size, your market cap, level of competition. Obviously, I'd love it to be down as low as 5% on average, but I always like to deliver the most real and honest message possible. And I see competitive law firms that are $1 million plus are in that 7 to 12% range. So that's what I look for, right? And that's not talking.
Charlie, I want to jump in and add one of the things what you just said, because I really think that this will tie it around away from the numbers back to the numbers. So one of the things that I've talked about here on the podcast, and I talk about with my coaching clients all the time, is that our normal modus operandi is have, do, be. When I have this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to be this, right? So when I have $3 million, then I'll be able to spend $15,000 a month on advertising, and then I'll be able to, whatever, right? So the reality is that that's not how it happens. And when people operate from there, it takes a very long time to get to where they want to go, if they get there at all, because they haven't created that ability for them to step into that role. The reality is that if you want to have the result, you need to operate from be, do, have. I need to start being the person in that future picture first.
Yes.
When I start being that person, then I'm going to start doing the things I need to do. And then I'm going to have what I want, which is that $3 million revenue, right? So just using your example and just coloring it a little bit differently, if I want to be a $3 million firm, I need to then take the $3 million firm advertising budget and start spending it today.
Yeah.
And if I do that, essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking a 5% budget and I'm tripling it to 15%. And by doing that, I'm now spending what I should be spending at $3 million, spending it today. And what's going to happen is that I'm going to start to produce the results that a $3 million firm produces from a $15,000 a month advertising budget, which will then open the floodgates of new business. And clearly there's other stuff that's going to have to fall into place, and we're going to have to start operating from a $3 million level in other areas like our staffing, our systems of processes and stuff like that. But It's just another way of looking at what you just said with the increasing the budget. That might help people wrap their brains around and say, oh, that makes sense, because I'm not spending that forever. I'm spending that forever, but I'm not spending it forever as a higher percentage of my business, because as I make more revenue, the percentage is going to get more in aligned with where I need to be.